Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Well, my first year of making these videos has come to a close, and even though I just started, I figured out that I'm literally the greatest creator on YouTube. I don't understand why I have like 54 subscribers when I should have 1 million, because I'm so great. I'm better than PewDiePie, I'm better than everybody who makes videos ever. You know why I know this? Because I have not made a single error throughout the entire year. Can any other YouTuber say that they can do that? Well, I think it'd be best if we just look over all of the greatest things I do and why I should deserve all the subscribers in the world. So here's my list. Top 10 reasons why I deserve 7 billion subscribers.
Hold it right there.
Oh, hello, Mr. Beat of the eponymous YouTube channel, which is found at the end card of all of my videos. What are you doing here? Because we're both totally in North Carolina recording this on the same day, right?
Well, I brought you all the way to Kansas to tell you that you have made many errors over the course of this year.
Oh, come on. I didn't make that many mistakes.
Oh, please. If you made any more errors, you'd be the Harding administration.
Okay, first of all, that was really harsh. But second of all, how about I satiate you, the subscribers, and really only myself, because I'm the only person who really notices any of these errors, like, ever, with this. Here are the top 10 Pluribus Unum screw-ups.
Great. More taking inspiration.
Come on, the Nostalgia Critic didn't invent apologizing for your mistakes. Though he did forget how to do it.
And what song are you using for your transitions?
Everything you know is wrong. Black is white, up is down, and short is long. And everything you thought was just so important doesn't matter. Everything you know is wrong. Just forget the words and sing along. All you need to understand is everything you know is wrong.
Your first segments of your first video.
Yeah, that was a very interesting episode. The echo being the most notable thing about it. I was a beginner in regards of having the so-called audio in my videos, and my OG strategy was to peak the audio as much as I can. Now I don't really do that. Not helped by the fact that I just got a brand new Snowball mic, as opposed to the Yeti mic, which I sorely regret, as afterwards I later learned how to use a Yeti mic. Especially considering I had enough money to buy either. I could have bought the Yeti and had the higher quality stuff, but I didn't because I made the assumption that these were the same quality mics, just one was cheaper for some reason. It was rather jarring when it shifted from the echo to normal, but now I got that part pretty much under control. But fingers crossed that I get a Yeti mic so that we can kiss all those problems goodbye.
All you need to understand is everything you know is wrong.
Your inconsistent upload schedule.
This is one I've tried to fix multiple times, but it always ends up happening. First, my upload schedule was going to be just a main series video every Thursday. Then I decided to have the idea of doing a fireside chat every Tuesday. You know, the 2 T's. You know, so you won't forget. One on Tuesday, one on Thursday. Easy to remember. Even though my first fireside chat was uploaded on a Wednesday due to technical errors. But, you know, these things happen. But then I decided to release Podcast 3 on Monday by accident. So then I just decided, man, screw it, it's the Monday show now. But then another issue arose when college work got too hectic, so I decided to move main series videos to a bi-weekly schedule in order to accommodate this, because a 1-hour podcast is very easy to do in just one sitting, whereas for this, like for a major, big, you know, one where I do the little stuff, I'll have to, you know, get the video files, record different audios for different segments, re-record them, So, it's kind of a bigger reason why party history videos haven't been around that much, because those ones are incredibly longer to produce than any of the other ones that I do. Adding to the fact that a lot of times that I'd be rushing to get a video uploaded, usually finishing it the night before I release it. Spoilers, even though I tried, it didn't really help any situation. But hey, I get an A for effort.
All you need to understand is everything you know is wrong.
Episode 4 of your podcast.
Okay, look. I do this channel because I like to do it. And I thought this video idea would be fun and have a lot more stuff for me to cover. But I was wrong. I got bored with the idea as I was doing it and just gave up partway through. And I honestly don't want to do that, considering it makes it seem like I just don't care. Which is not true. I do care. It just so happened this particular one was a subject that didn't really have much to say that hadn't already been said by a lot of other people. Nothing that I could just throw my own special intake on. Especially considering the last episode I literally just said, hey, I'll do this one next time, so I felt kind of obligated to do it. And due to the fact that it was so close to the video's release date, I couldn't just do another one. Again, I apologize for any insinuation that I didn't care, or if you were looking forward to the episode. Won't do that again. Every podcast episode I do now, I have to care about it at least somewhat.
All you need to understand is everything you know is wrong.
Your constant name mispronunciations? That's okay, I do that too.
I couldn't even get the foreign names wrong. I had to get names of people that actually live in the United States. So for the biggest ones that I caught were, I've said Michael Perotuka instead of Michael Perutka, Daniel Imperatio instead of Imperato. But the biggest and first one was when I called the first Libertarian vice presidential candidate Tawny Nathan, when it's actually Tony Nathan. It's mostly due to the way that it's spelled being unfamiliar to me. Like, seriously, that's how you spell Tony? Usually for foreign names, I put them in a Google Translate to figure out how it's said, and the first name that I actually did it with was the one that you probably would have gotten wrong in the first place. Sedenem Kinamo Kristen Moyo Wasiza Curry. But yeah, my fault for not doing that beforehand, and I'm going to be doing that from here on out.
All you need to understand is everything you know is wrong.
The numbers are wrong in your Mexican presidential elections.
Well, okay, they may or may not be. You see, there's no place that seems to have a definitive number for Mexican presidential elections. There's the numbers on English Wikipedia, the numbers on Spanish Wikipedia, and then the numbers on our campaigns, none of which are consistent. I chose the ones from Spanish Wikipedia as they seem to be more thorough in their research. Example, in the earliest presidential election, they actually include Zuniga, and English Wikipedia does not. Which is why I said in the video itself that most people don't count him, because English Wikipedia doesn't, so most people probably wouldn't count him. But for later ones, the numbers seem to add up just fine. So for later ones, I'm going to be using English Wikipedia, because as it goes on, it gets more and more thorough. So sorry for any inconveniences it causes, and just wanted to let you know my reasoning for it. Hopefully this doesn't affect how you view the series itself, and maybe you still get a kick for learning Mexican presidential elections. Side note, I only did that so I could talk about the 2018 presidential election in Mexico, which will be a long way forward, my friends, so we're in for a ride.
All you need to understand is everything you know is wrong.
Eugene V. Debs wasn't a social democrat.
Well, yes and no. Let me explain. You see, I've mentioned in multiple videos that Eugene V. Debs, the famous socialist leader, was a social democrat. Now, that might be blasphemy considering the whole, he's the socialist leader, why would he be a social democrat? Well, you see, what he would be classified as now today is most likely a democratic socialist, as in a socialist that wants to accomplish their goals via an election as opposed to a revolution. But on Wikipedia, Debs is put on many pages talking about social democracy, but not put on a single page talking about democratic socialism. Bernie Sanders is, but it is stated multiple times that his views align more with social democracy than democratic socialism, but due to the fact that Bernie screams it more, he's put on those pages. And considering many of Debs' closest allies, such as Morris Hillquit and his mentor, Victor L. Berger, were Social Democrats. I just assumed that Debs was as well. Though Debs' views seem to be close enough to either ideology to be called either ideology, and nowadays the ideologies are pretty much intertwined, with many self-espoused democratic socialists actually having views more similar to social democracy, but quotes from Debs seem to show that he was explicitly anti-capitalist, so technically I was wrong. But if you look at it from the other side, technically I was right, because not only is social democracy seen as a moderate form of socialism, it was founded by the same guy who founded democratic socialism. So technically, I was right, and you all were the wrong ones for saying that I was wrong. Wait, but I'm the only one who noticed this mistake. So either way, I'm wrong. Dang it!
All you need to understand is everything you know is wrong.
What about the 2016 Reform Party primaries?
Okay, so there's really no wiggle room around this. This is just poor research. When I did my video about the Reform Party, I blazed through all the elections after 2000 as nothing really happened. However, I did jump the gun by giving Roque de la Fuente the Reform Party nomination without going through a primary process. You see, 2012 was the only one that I gave the primary process to because that one actually had an extensive primary process. Nader and Weil were pretty much given the nominations from the get-go. I believe that was the same case in 2016, as the research on the Wikipedia page showed Roque de la Fuente as the only candidate, and there was no other research that I found that showed otherwise until I looked at the Wikipedia page for independent candidates for 2016 and scrolled to the Reform Party status, and lo and behold, it showed not only did De La Fuente have one challenger, he had 4 challengers: perennial candidate and author Darcy Richardson, presidential candidate and psychologist Lynn S. Kahn, Reform Party candidate for vice president in 2012 Kenneth Cross, and business owner Ed Klapowski. Boy, Richardson and Kahn always make their ways into my life somehow. I mean, I endorsed both of their candidacies for selective offices in 2018. One of them follows me on Twitter. I emailed them and they responded back with answers to a question that I had. You know, they seem to be nice people. But I neglected it because the page that was supposed to show it didn't show it. The page that literally says Reform Party primaries didn't have any candidates. I have since corrected that mistake by adding them, and I realized the mistake, and I will do better research in the future. So yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't pay attention to the Reform Party presidential primaries, but then again, didn't we all do that after 2000?
All you need to understand is everything you know is wrong.
Your live streams. Just your live streams.
Okay, I had to get to this at some point. My streams this year have been bad, mostly because OBS keeps screwing up. Even when I click the button that's supposed to auto-configure the settings to better suit it for streaming, it doesn't come out right. You also may have noticed in my earlier days, when I recorded my screen, it had issues. But when I clicked the auto-configure button on screen recording, it worked just fine. So, streaming, I just don't know. So, would I like to do an election night stream? Of course I would. Everybody who does politics on YouTube wants to do an election live stream, but OBS has not been kind to me. I honestly don't know why, and I've made the decision to never live stream again. But if anybody wants me to be on theirs, Drunken Peasants, then I'll be happy to do it.
All you need to understand is everything you know is wrong.
Your constant audio errors.
Yeah, even though I took 3 years of digital media, I still have the occasional audio error. Most of the time it's me forgetting to edit out my breathing, which my solution to that is very simple. Never breathe again. Sometimes I'll forget to edit a space, sometimes I'll make a hasty edit to try to fix a mistake. For example, in the Libertarian Party video, you may have noticed after I did the James Weeks incident, there was a huge space of silence, it was because I muted a certain aspect of the video that I couldn't just delete, because I had already exported it into the video editing software. But the biggest one I made was during the Green Party video, where I said this. Gore would have gotten. I apologize for those errors, but that's what I get for trying to make consistent videos and go to school at the same time. I'll never leave an error that bad again.
All you need to understand is everything you know is wrong.
Episode 13 of Fireside Chats came out before episode 12.
Alright, this one requires explanation, cause you guys don't know the details behind it. You see, episode 12 of Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats was originally going to be a 2020 presidential speculation video. I usually upload them beforehand via a scheduled upload, and then just go to sleep, and then it'll just upload exactly 10 a.m. But the problem was, I accidentally clicked Thursday instead of Monday, so it got uploaded the Thursday before it was supposed to go out, so I quickly privated it so that nobody would see it. So then I was just gonna leave it at that, and then unprivate it when it was time for the episode to be released. But then I got a message from the John Wolfe campaign asking if I could do another interview with him before his primary, which was going to be the Thursday after that podcast. So I just decided to do John Wolfe a favor and do a second interview and move that episode to a later date. The problem was I didn't decide to delete it and then re-upload it to be scheduled on that day. I just decided to leave it privated and then just unprivate it the Monday that it's supposed to go out. And then when I unprivated it, it was still the old release date. And at that point, I just didn't want to be bothered to delete it, then re-upload it. So I just decided to leave it at that. On my playlists and on my website, it's still properly listed to be afterwards. But to any newcomer that's just going to watch through all of my old videos, they're going to notice that one is before the other. So, yeah. Sorry, and I definitely will not make that mistake again. So yeah, those were all the screw-ups that I made in my first year of this new YouTube channel. But just because I made many screw-ups doesn't mean I consider this year's screw-up. I mean, look at all the things that I accomplished. I got followed by 3 political parties on Twitter. I got followed by 7 politicians on Twitter, one of which I actually got to interview. I was hired and fired by a progressive website. I got to vote in the 2018 midterms. Many of the videos that I did were actually acknowledged by party heads on Twitter. I reached 55 subscribers on YouTube, and above all else, the person that inspired it all was the first person to subscribe to me. So yeah, I'd consider this year to be an accomplishment, and here's to making the next year better than this one. What do you have to look forward to next year? More videos about ideologies. Hopefully I'll get to the big one that I wanted to do. More videos on the history of political parties. Hopefully I'll go over the big 2 that have always been on everybody's minds. Getting more in touch with my Mexican heritage through the Mexican presidential election series. Podcasts getting more and more presidential as we get to the time where the big people in presidential elections start announcing their candidacies. Endorsements on my websites for local offices and ones in Canada because their elections are coming up. And a brand new series that will be a special one for Black History Month. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more political content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Quora. What are you looking forward most to next year? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below.